What is up, everybody? Tasteless here along with Artosis, and I am very excited to say we'll be doing our first ever Battle Aces cast.
Battle Aces is a fast action RTS, so without further ado, let's get into it. All right, as we see here at the beginning, that is the core dropping down into the ground. That is the main base, the main resource locations where all your units will be made. If you lose it, you lose the game. Conversely, if you kill your opponents, you win the game. The only other win condition would be this timer you see up at the top. We have a maximum of 10-minute long games. If you go to the full 10 minutes, then it just takes the higher score and that player wins.
As you can see, right off the bat, you're able to take an expansion. So seconds into getting into the game, you can be building an army, you can be taking bases, you can be getting right into the action.
And as you see, 30 seconds in, we already have a little bit of an engagement. The player view that we're looking at is David Kim's. He's utilizing blinks, and he's going up against gunbots. You can see these gunbots turning to fight. They have an ability called Overclock. It's really a lot like Stim. It upgrades their speed and their attack speed, and you don't want to be engaging them when that's on.
Luckily, you are able to then blink away to get out of that area so that you can go to somewhere safer. Both players right now are now getting onto their third bases as tension is continuing to build here in the middle of the map.
Yeah, with those 3 bases up, they're going to be getting a lot more resources. A lot of micro going down right now. And one thing you've seen several times now is the intelligence bar. It's those boxes that are popping up onto the screen that David keeps on checking. That's going to show your unit deck and your opponent's unit deck. Basically where you are in your tech trees and what units you're going to have available.
So the units that we're seeing here at the start of this game don't have to be the units that you're going to be playing with or against in your first game of Battle Aces. There's so many different ways and combinations you can make in this game, which creates a unique experience every time.
And really, it revolves around the type of skills that you have, the type of way that you like to play. You can see David here, he's going for a very micro-oriented attack. His opponent, more about the pure damage output of his army. And really, there's all sorts of different ways you can go about choosing those decks.
It's really speed versus strength here. David Kim now going down to the bottom right, but realizing that there's nothing in the middle of the map. He has to try to retreat here. He's getting closed in. He's getting surrounded. Right now, David Kim being chased over here into the base of his opponent.
Wow, this is actually a great move from his opponent. The gunbot's putting a lot of damage down onto these blinks, but of course that mobility that David has is really coming in handy. Blinking forward through this third base location, he's going to kill quite a few workers.
Yeah, it actually turned out to be a very fortunate interaction there for David Kim. He goes through that third base, massacres the workers, and manages to escape over to his side of the map.
One thing I do need to mention is I've noticed that he has that Starforge done. His opponent went for the Foundry. The Starforge is going to allow you to make some flying units, so that can really change the flow of the game. We have some butterflies coming out right now, and these have just a devastating anti-ground attack.
And using these versus the gunbots, he's going to be able to clear this area out very quickly. Meanwhile, setting the blinks down into the bottom right, we see that mortars have been set up, but they're not going to be helpful to try to push into this location. And this is really David Kim winning 2 different attacks on 2 different fronts.
And his opponent just now getting some missile bots out there. As you can see, some great anti-air, and that's going to push the butterflies back. But you know what? He bought time. He was able to kill his opponent's 4th base while saving his own 3rd base. So very, very good there for David with the butterflies.
So right now his opponent back, licking his wounds. We have the butterflies arcing around through the northern side of the map as a huge push comes in here. This time the mortars will be able to set up. You can see David King comes in and tries to snipe one mortar, but realizes there's just too much damage here. There should be no way he can keep this 3rd base alive.
Yeah, his army's really more mobility based. He can't face against this giant death ball that we're seeing right now. The mortars with the gunbots, it's a great combo. But he's going for some counter harassment. Look at that damage output from the butterflies. They just cleared the workers in a matter of seconds.
Pretty crazy. He's able to once again wipe out all the workers at that 3rd base. It looks like we have some predators out now to drive these butterflies away. But on top of that, the 4th base position in the bottom right is wiped out once more.
And in fact, it looks like the Blink's still going to go on and attack elsewhere. And actually, David's 4th base up in that top left corner is under siege. So I think he is going to end up losing that one as well, unfortunately. But he's going after his opponent's first expansion. It does look like he's going to be able to get it.
Yeah, you can see he tried to get in there and get that mortar, decides instead to just target down that 2nd base and regroup. He's taking his wins, and then he's pulling back out, continuing to accumulate a bigger and bigger army.
Yeah, he's got a lot of blinks right now. And it does look like David has gone up to the Advanced Star Forge, and he's saving up a lot of resources at the moment as he tries to run away. This army can't fight against his opponent. You see it's starting to fight, and it is taking a beating. He's going to blink away and try to run while he saves up money for this crazy Tier 3 unit called the Kraken.
He's been buying some time, but it looks like eventually this push is going to show up at the front door. He has banked up that money for that Kraken, but for the time being, I mean, it just looks like there's no way he's going to be able to keep this third base alive.
Well, he decides to do something else with the blinks. He's going to go across the map and maybe try some sort of counterattack. I'm not exactly sure. Okay, his opponent's army is kind of mirroring him, but you know what? This is okay for David because he still needs to save up more resources for that Kraken. And in fact, he's going to find these mortars left in the center and be able to pick those off reasonably efficiently.
Yeah, really nicely done. He wipes that out. This is going to loosen up the position on the middle of the map, making Red have to do a little bit more heavy lifting to ever get back into this type of position again here. So for the time being, he can use these blinks to buy time. A mortar push coming across the map again is going to be a lot more costly, at least as far as time goes, and we know there's not that much time left in this game.
Well, as David kind of pokes in on the side, those mortars are there. He's going to have to back up. He's just looking to see if he can slow his opponent down a little bit as his resources continue to grow. Right now, he's at about 2,500, 2,500. That Kraken costs 3,000, 3,000.
Yeah, it looks like he's moments away from getting that because he's able to keep this position here. And as the mortars would try to set up, he then blinks away. He's bought a little bit more time. If the Kraken can get out, then he's going to be able to retake this third base that he lost earlier on this game.
And it looks like he is ready for it. There you go. He has purchased the Kraken, and look at the size of that thing. Just a deadly Tier 3 unit. And you know what? His top left base looks like it's about to be under siege here. He comes up with those blinks, going to kill off a mortar, but that is a scary army to engage.
But I think he realizes maybe his blinks aren't going to be that useful over in this area, so instead he could try to come over here to the third base of his opponent. Meanwhile, the Kraken up here in the north is doing a huge amount of damage to that big push from our red player.
And you know what? He's going to be able to kill off this third base really quickly with those blinks. But I don't know if the Kraken's going to last. That's a lot of predators in there. And you can see the health is being chunked down so quickly. But the blink's going to come up and try to help out here as well. The Kraken going after them. Look at this. A blink forward targeting down predators. And he saves the Kraken with just a few health left.
And as long as there's any health left on that Kraken, all that damage is going to continue to come out. A huge victory here in the middle of the map. Right now, David Kim going to sink his teeth in and try to come in for the kill.
Oh, man, that's a big army, though, that we see right there. And with all those predators, he is going to be able to take down that Kraken. Now, one thing to mention, we can see right now the Foundry research is going on for David. So he's going into another tech route, one that doesn't involve flying units. I don't think we're going to see any more butterflies or even another Kraken out of David.
It seems like for now, David has to basically wait and brace for impact here. A push is inbound. He's ahead by one base, but here comes that army now. He's going to have to try to tech out of this. A lot of damage is coming down.
So Crusaders now on the field. The Crusaders going to come up. They are very high health. They deal some AoE damage, and he is going to get on top of these gunbots. You can see they're doing a fantastic job of starting to chunk through these. The blinks behind as well, adding their damage in while the Crusaders tank everything. A great engagement here for David.
Yeah, just having those Crusaders in the front like that was beautiful, and a big blink on top so that nothing can escape. And now it just doesn't seem like there's that much left over here for Red. The push is going to continue up here. He's headed towards his opponent's core.
Yeah, already the main cores have mined out. We're at the end of the game right now. Only a minute 30 left in this game, and David's going to do a push with so few resources trickling in. What you see is basically what you get. Going to move forward some destroyers here, which do take down his Crusaders very quickly, but that blink forward will show to be too strong, and David kills the army.
He's going to come in here, and that is the win condition. If you take out your opponent's core, you have won the game, and that's exactly what we have. GG. That was fun. Our first ever Battle Aces cast, Artos.
Yeah, that was really, really well done. What I really like that we saw there was David was looking at that intelligence bar, and that will tell you a lot of things. It shows what your opponent has available at the moment, but it doesn't show what they have at the moment. And I felt like David did a really good job of banking some resources, figuring out what was going on, and then trying to counter it, right? Like he waited to build some butterflies, brought them out, pushed his opponent back, and did that counterattack. And I think that set up the situation where he can actually get a Kraken.
I love that he was using the blinks to buy time with the mortar push in the middle of the map. That allowed him to get the Kraken out of there. But he knew how to tech shift. So once his opponent had answered one problem, he had already created another problem and was just able to rotate through that tech and eventually win with that final push.
Yeah, a very cool game, guys. We hope that you enjoyed it. Make sure that you sign up for the beta now on playbattleaces.com.
And be sure to wishlist it on Steam. Thank you so much for joining us on our first ever Battle Aces cast. We hope to see you guys in the beta and on the ladder.